All right, today we're going to do something pretty cool. We're going to make the invisible visible. We are pulling back the curtain on the Wi-Fi that pretty much runs our entire lives to figure out what is really going on inside that little blinking box in the corner of your room.
You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. You've got 5 bars of signal, you're sitting right next to your router, but trying to stream a movie feels like you're back on dial-up. It's one of those great mysteries of modern life. But what if I told you the answer isn't a mystery at all?
That's it. The problem isn't your signal strength, it's traffic. Your data is literally stuck in a massive, invisible traffic jam happening in the air all around you. And today, well, we're going to become traffic engineers.
So, to understand the traffic, you first need to see the roads. You see, Wi-Fi doesn't just travel on one single path. It travels on different radio frequency bands. The best way to think about these are as 2 totally different types of highways available for your data.
So let's break down these 2 main highways. First, you've got the 2.4 gigahertz band. Think of this like a long, winding country road. Yeah, it can go a really long way, reaching those far corners of your house, but it's pretty slow and it gets crowded super easily. Then you have the 5 gigahertz band. Now that's the super fast, multi-lane freeway. It has a massive capacity for speed, but the trade-off is its signal doesn't travel quite as far.
Okay, so we've got our highways, the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bands. But just like a real highway, your experience depends entirely on the lane you're in. And in the world of Wi-Fi, these lanes, they're called channels.
So a channel is just a smaller, dedicated slice of that big frequency band. Your router picks a channel, or a lane, to send and receive all of your data. Simple enough, right? Well, this is where our traffic jam really begins.
Let's go back to our 2.4 gigahertz country road for a second. The huge problem with it is that the lanes were designed poorly. They're way too wide, and they actually bleed into each other. So if your neighbor's Wi-Fi is on channel 3 and yours is on channel 4, you're not actually in separate lanes. You're both trying to drive in pretty much the same space, which causes a ton of interference and slows everybody down.
And here's the kicker. Because of all that messy overlap, on the entire 2.4 gigahertz highway system, there are only 3. Just 3 lanes that don't interfere with each other at all. Channels 1, 6, and 11. That's it. If you and all your neighbors can somehow coordinate to stick to just these 3, you create these beautiful, clear, interference-free paths for everyone's data.
Now, just when you think you've got this all figured out, there's a twist. The rules for these invisible highways, which channels you're even allowed to use and how, are completely different depending on where you are in the world. It is a super complex, global patchwork of regulations.
It's kind of a wild thought, right? But the answer is yes, absolutely. A router that's perfectly legal and normal in the United States could be broadcasting on totally forbidden frequencies if you just plug it in somewhere in Europe or Asia.
Let's just take one channel as an example, channel 144. Here in the US, you can use it, but there's a catch. It's for indoors only. But if you take that same router to Europe or Japan, nope, you're suddenly operating on a frequency that is not allowed for Wi-Fi at all, because the regulators there have reserved it for other critical services.
So how do regulators keep the freeway clear for those really critical services, like, say, weather radar? They use this clever system called DFS, or Dynamic Frequency Selection. The best way to think about it is like an emergency vehicle having the right of way. If your router detects a priority signal, it is legally required to immediately get out of the way. It has to change lanes to let that important traffic through.
And there's another key rule of the road, TPC, or Transmit Power Control. This is like a dynamic speed limit for your Wi-Fi signal. Your router automatically lowers its power output when it's close to your devices. And what this does is it reduces the overall noise on the highway, which means less interference and better performance for everyone. You know, it's really about being a good digital neighbor.
So all these rules are about managing the traffic on our crowded old 2.4 and 5 gigahertz highways. But what if the solution wasn't just better management? What if we could build a whole new road? Well, regulators around the world have done something pretty dramatic. They've opened up a brand new, massive, multi-lane superhighway.
This new frontier is the 6 gigahertz band, and it is the home of the next generation of wireless tech, Wi-Fi 6E and Wi-Fi 7. We're talking about a whole new stretch of spectrum, totally clean and free of all the old, slow devices that clog up the old bands.
And to really get the scale of this upgrade, just look at the numbers.
Remember our little 2.4 gigahertz country road with just 3 clear lanes? The 5 gigahertz freeway was a huge step up with 25. But the new 6 gigahertz superhighway, it gives us an incredible 59 new, non-overlapping lanes. The amount of capacity is just staggering. This is the solution to our traffic jam.
So, that little blinking box isn't so mysterious after all. It's your personal on-ramp to a vast, invisible, and highly regulated interstate system in the air. We've finally built the capacity for incredible speed and hopefully eliminated the traffic jams of the past. The only question now is, with all this new open road, what are we going to build next?